You are looking live at St. Vincent College in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, and Steelers Training Camp 2025. It is Sunday, August the 3rd, day 12 on campus, day 9 of practice, and day 3 in pads. Good afternoon, and welcome to Training Camp Live, brought to you by FedEx. I'm Mike Pursuta, joined, as always, by Max Starks. We are here to provide continuing coverage of Steelers Training Camp 2025. And Max, we got a little bit of a different type of show lined up today. We have a very special guest that we will get to later in today's program. Mick McUade, who hosts the Irish Steelers podcast, will be here live on set with us. And we've also had 5 NFL officials working the last 2 practices, and they're going to work another one today before they get out of here. And they are here to update the players on rules changes, points of emphasis, things of that nature. Some interesting stuff that we're going to hear from Craig Wolstad, who is getting ready for his 12th season as an NFL referee.
No, it's going to be very interesting. They've been here since Friday Night Lights, and they'll culminate today with, of course, another padded practice for the Steelers. This installation, of course, today the big emphasis is goal line and short yardage. So something I'm sure the referees are going to be very keen on trying to just catch the nuances of it. We will not be doing a tush push, though, Mike. So if anybody's holding their breath out there, we're not doing a tush push. But it's also to get the referees up to speed, get ready for these preseason games that are about to ensue this coming week as we start like Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We'll start having games being played. So these referees obviously need to get up to snuff as well. This is their preseason as well.
Since you went there, and I actually prefer to call it the brotherly shove, because the Eagles kind of immortalized it.
Can we just talk about this real fast? A little sidebar.
Yeah.
It is not very lovely and nice and brotherly when you go to Philadelphia, though. How did they get that nickname? Because I feel very uncomfortable around Eagles fans because they're not nice.
Well, that depends. Speaking as a native of Philadelphia,
yeah,
I can tell you we love you till we don't.
Yeah, well, but what if you never loved, and therefore
if you're from the neighborhood, you're
there?
Okay. If you're not, then keep your head up.
Yeah, exactly. Go get me a water ice somewhere down the street. Yeah, okay.
Hey, I like the way. That's exactly how you say it, a water ice. Why doesn't everybody do that? Why are the Eagles so good at it?
I think when you have a very particular skill set within that interior, right? You look at Jason Kelce, and Jason was such a tremendous ankle, knee, hip bender that he could get down in a low squatty position, wrestling background, and could muscle through. And then, of course, your quarterback, who is trying to out-squat Saquon Barkley, has good lower body explosiveness. It makes it just very tough to mimic. And Jason Kelce taught Cam Jurgens, who's now their current center, the technique behind it. But when you don't know the technique, I think that's why you can't really accomplish it as well. And then you got 2 massive guards, flanking either side of that low squatty center and quarterback. It just makes for the perfect storm of having this scrum-like play. But, I mean, I wish more teams did it or at least tried it, but they're just so far ahead that I think a lot of people just said, we're not going to be able to duplicate this, so we just don't even try.
I mean, you wonder why the Eagles have been so good of late, and how big an advantage is it when it's 4th and 1 or 4th and goal, and you're pretty sure you're going to make it?
Yeah, we have a 98% success rate or something. Yeah, I mean, it's a secret weapon. But I think it's something because it's been repped so many times when they first debuted it and they continually seen the success, right? It just is made for a very just tough play to block. And, I mean, one, of course, consternation around the league, right? I mean, it was up for a vote whether it would get banned or not at the past owners' meetings. It did not. It got tabled. Until they make it illegal, you got to respect it. But not every center is built like a Jason Kelce. Not every center has a lower body strength, and of course the quarterback as well that has the according strength to go with it. You got to have 2 really low, massive guys that can keep their feet churning for it to be a successful play.
I mean, personally, I don't like it. I think it's a rugby play, not a football play.
Yeah.
But if it's on the books, then those who aren't taking advantage are being left behind
until otherwise noted.
Yeah.
And I think that's one that Philly has figured out. I would have loved to in my day if we ran that. I mean, we did run quarterback sneak and stuff with Ben, and we had a high success rate with that, but it wasn't to the degree that, I mean, Eagles deploy it 3-4 times a game, easy.
Every time they're in short yardage.
Every time they're in short yardage. I mean, which is probably what, like 70, probably 80 plays they've had the opportunity to rep this year in and year out. So they've gotten really good at it. They could do the master class on it.
Some personnel stuff to update you on, or for us to discuss. This isn't exactly breaking news, but we haven't got to it yet, so we'll get to it now. Braden Fehoko back.
Yes.
6'3", 300 pounds. He said he's down about 30 pounds.
Yeah, I was about to say, he was 3. I was waiting for you to finish that. Well, you said 3 and stopped there. I was like, wait a second.
Wow.
A year ago, he was 330, 340.
That's what he's listed at. He said he's actually tipping him at about 290, but he's hoping a couple 3 days in the lovely St. Vincent cafeteria will help compensate for that.
Yeah, that'll do it real quick.
He is back on the active roster. Dean Lowry, backup defensive lineman, and a real solid pro, guy with a lot of experience, has played a lot of NFL ball. He has been placed on the reserve injured list. His season is over. That is a defensive line depth blow.
Yeah, that is, because when you're talking about, Carl Dunbar, the defensive line coach, loves to roll out 3, 4, 5 different combinations of guys. He usually uses about, I would say, anywhere from 7 to 8 guys per game. That's a large number. When you think about having the experience and the depth of a Dean Lowry, especially last year when we were going through some depth issues, he was a welcomed addition. So
also blocked a kick last year.
Yeah, that's correct. He did block a kick on special teams.
One of several Steelers with that
designation.
Line on the stat sheet.
Yeah, that goes on the Danny Smith Wall of Fame right there, adding it to his illustrious list. But losing that type of guy is a tough blow because there's a lot of experience that he brings with it, a veteran nature to it. But, with that kind of uncommon type of thing and discourteous situation, breeds an opportunity for one of these young guys that we see walking down this hill right now, some young D linemen who can make a name for themselves and try and get into it. That's Braden Fehoko right now. But before that, we saw Y.A. Black walking down the hill. Right there, I believe that is what? Is that? I can't tell. 69, I think it's either Daniel Aquale is 96. I always get them confused. I think that's Davis is the one who's in there. Yeah, Dominique Davis, the guy who came back after he got released for Chuck Clark, came back a couple of days later. So Dominique Davis now getting an opportunity as well, an increased role in practice.
Also, defensive lineman Kyler Baugh has been added to the active roster, 6'2", 305. He came out of the University of Minnesota last year, signed with New Orleans as an undrafted free agent, spent a little time with the New York Football Giants and Atlanta Falcons practice squads. He is activated, and Jacob Slade, defensive lineman from Michigan State, has been waived.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize, Mike. I apologize for that. I know you're heartbroken.
Well, they brought another Big Ten guy in. So
okay. It wasn't a Spartan, though. Is it even an equal trade if you bring in another Big Ten if it's not from your own water?
Of course not.
It's always a let off.
Clearly
you still have Connor Hayward.
They've clearly lost their minds.
Yeah.
Also, an injury I hope is not one of note, but Corey Trice Jr., cornerback, dealing with a little soft tissue / hamstring, according to Mike Tomlin. Didn't practice yesterday. This is a guy we've been talking about a lot as maybe the next guy to establish himself at that cornerback position, but he's got to stay on the field, and that's been a problem since going back to his days at Purdue.
Yeah, it's his days at Purdue, and then, of course, when he came here. First year went right on the IR before really getting into the depths of training camp, came back healthy for the last year's training camp, and was looking good in season. Actually made an interception and then was injured early in the season, so another setback for him. I'm hoping he can recover quickly and come back because the potential is there. But there also comes a point where if you can't stay healthy, potential is just that.
Yeah.
It's never realized, and, you hate to say it, but you don't want to get to the point where the team thinks about moving on from you. So hopefully he'll recover quickly.
And it is a crowded cornerback position.
It is. There's a lot of guys there.
A lot of options. I mean, it's a crowded D-line position, too. I mentioned Lowry was a blow. I mean, they have other ones.
Oh, they have a lot. Like I said, Daniel Aquale. Another guy.
But you hate to lose an established guy that you know what you're going to get from him and been there, done that.
Well, and you know that he's going to provide leadership, to the young guys and really show them how to go about things. So when you kind of lose that voice, you lose that presence. It's a little bit of a blow, like we said, but it gives an opportunity to somebody else to step up and possibly, have an opportunity they otherwise would not have.
Let's kick around some stuff from practice yesterday now, and it was a little bit of a different practice coming out of Friday Night Lights. There was pads were not worn, so
Yeah.
it was more.
It was a helmet practice.
It was more OTA-ish.
Let's be frank with it.
And a lot of guys getting a day off for one reason or another, either because it was time or they're nursing, as Mike Tomlin might say, the bumps and bruises associated with football.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers didn't practice for the first time yesterday.
First vet day for number 8, which I thought was, pretty cool that he went that long before getting a vet day, whether it was his choice or the organization's choice. Because a lot of other guys that were established, Cam Hayward's had a lot of vet days here.
Yeah.
Doesn't need to practice and show.
TJ
Watt, another one.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong, because like you said, we've seen enough.
Yeah.
There's a whole Hall of Fame resume that they can rely on to show you what they can and can't do. But I thought, for Aaron being new, it's a leadership role and a leadership position that he's taking that, hey, if the guys are out here, I'm going to practice. But yesterday, no harm, no foul. It was a short turnaround from Friday Night Lights, and it was just helmets. I think he's good at getting a couple mental reps for a day.
And, unless you think Aaron Rodgers was not engaged, even though he was not participating, there was a play in 7-on-7 red zone. Rodgers immediately went to coach up one of the tight ends, Kevin Folsch.
Oh, yeah.
And Folsch was not the target on the play. He was not directly involved in the play, but he ran a route, and it wasn't run apparently to the specifics or the satisfaction of Rodgers in terms of how it was supposed to be executed. So he went and coached him up, and it was an interesting little exchange. It's not the first time. I mentioned the other day that Rodgers was coaching up Dante Kent, the 7th-round DB, during wide receiver DB one-on-ones. I mean, he is, even if he's not in uniform, he is involved, and he is going out of his way to try to pass along whatever he can to his teammates, whatever side of the ball they play.
Well, I think because it's a holistic approach, right? Aaron's not going to come in.
Well, I bet he would love that word.
What?
Holistic.
Oh,
that's right up his alley, isn't
that
it?
is right up his alley. Yeah. You know what? Just for you, Aaron. he takes holistic to a whole other level. But he realizes that he's going to be a leader and a captain of the entire team, not just the offense, not just the quarterback room, but he's going to be a face and a voice for the entire team, offense, defense, special teams. So if he sees something, it's only right that you say something. And I think for him, taking that very proactive approach, like you said, talking to Folsch, talking to Kent a couple days ago, you watch him, he's always taking in information. He's always processing something every single play, and he's inundating himself with everybody on the team. Like I said, well, like we saw in warm-ups on the shots a couple days ago, he was warming up with all defensive linemen. He wasn't even with another offensive player during team warm-ups. And, the time he spent with Alex Highsmith, Skoranek, the O-line, he rooms, DK's his suite mate. He's just making sure that he's communicating with everybody, and everybody also feels comfortable enough that they can always come and talk to him, that there's not a wall there. And I think that's a very special place to be as a leader, and that's just true maturity and leadership that he's displaying so far in camp.
And, I think it's important, too. One thing I believe is resulted from us getting to know Aaron Rodgers a little bit, how he carries himself and, what kind of player he is. He arrived here with a reputation of being a detail guy and kind of a taskmaster in terms of, if it says run 8 yards and hang it right, don't run 7 yards and hang it left.
Exactly.
It's supposed to be done the way it's supposed to be done. And if you're going to hold guys to that standard, anything you can do to help them along, hey, you know what you did there, maybe do this instead, or I'd like to see you do this instead of what you just did, or do it this way. That can only help facilitate Rodgers' guys being where he wants and expects them to be.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing is, and you know what, sometimes it goes the other way too, where it's like, man, I was expecting 8, but you cutting it off at 7 and rounding that route a little bit more than squaring it off actually gave me a little bit of cushion. So, hey, thanks for giving me that type of tip. So it's like it's a certain give and take with that. But if he sees something, he's going to say it. And I think that's the one thing you could take solace with when looking at how he's managing this team and the things that he's trying. he's always communicating with guys. So that it's not like it's in a silo. He's not withholding information for himself. He's like, I saw it. This is what I think. Probably try this. Or if it doesn't, hey, thanks for doing this. I saw something that I didn't realize I could do. So thank you. It's a lot of repartee. And that's what this whole time of year is at training camp, right? It's the figuring it out phase. You know, what works, what doesn't work, what can I get away with, what's a cardinal sin, you know, where can I throw, where can I not throw in season, how does a receiver like a ball, how does a running back like a ball or a tight end. All of these things matter, and he's always processing all that information in this place that I politely call the Forge.
Saw Isaac Seumalo a moment ago. We saw him getting some 11 on 11 yesterday, a couple reps in 7 shots. Broderick Jones got a couple reps in 7 shots. And then for the most part, when it was 11 on 11, Broderick would start and take a couple and then be replaced.
Yeah.
Whereas we're still waiting for Isaac getting non-7 shots, 11 on 11.
Easy in. We know what Isaac Seumalo brings to the table, right?
We do.
And we know what he offers as a leader on that offensive line. So I'm not necessarily worried about it as long as he feels healthy by the start of the season. That's really what matters. I mean, he's not like he's getting a lot of reps in the preseason anyways, but you would like to see him in camp doing stuff to make sure that he's staying sharp on his skills.
Broderick Jones, on the other hand,
needs a lot more reps.
Different set of circumstances.
Yeah, he needs to get his butt out there. He needs to work it. I mean, you know, he's a great athlete and a great player skill set wise, but you still got to put it together. And he's moving to a new side. So this isn't like, there we go. I think we might see action today.
Yellow pants, the capris have been shelved.
That's right. No pirate pants today. he's going full tighties, full tighty yellowies.
And, you know, if we're going to do some short yardage and goal line today as anticipated, yeah.
I would love to see a knee pad, though. That's just me. But
well,
I look at it, I cringe.
Does anybody wear them anymore?
No, they don't. That's what's scary. I'm like, if you're going to be physical, rooting a guy out in the ground, like, I've had 4 knee surgeries, so I get really sensitive around the knee area. So I'm like, I always want to wear some knee pads and maybe even 2 knee braces just to be safe. In these type of situations, it's a very physical drill. So it's a lot of skin exposed for me. But then again, I'm not as svelte as he was. You know, I had about another 40 pounds on, so it didn't look as good in tight biker shorts.
If it makes you feel any better, I've had 2 hip surgeries, and I didn't even play.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying.
Stuff happens.
Don't worry. I'm working my way there. I'm working my way there to the hip replacement next. That's next.
You know, you go in for that 50,000-mile checkup. Sometimes they got to rotate the tires.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, titanium is everybody's friend at this age.
Mason Rudolph took over for Aaron Rodgers with the first team stuff. I am very pleased with Mason's camp.
Yeah,
I think they're in a great spot there with Mason being the number 2.
Yeah, I feel confident. I mean, Mason's been there. He's done that, and he fits right in. You know, Aaron's out. He's still making plays, making passes. There's no, uncertainty about what the job is to get done. So, I mean, you got a quality backup, a veteran backup, and Mason Rudolph, a guy who's been in playoff games and been in big-time moments and played, so he's trusted. And then, of course, he'll be the quote-unquote shepherd for 18, the young guy, Will Howard.
Does he have to carry around one of those long things with the
he doesn't have to have the crook. Crook you're talking about? Yeah, no crook. He doesn't have to yank any sheep back into place. But who knows? Maybe a guy or two that strays away from the pack when they go on an away trip sometimes. You might need that crook.
He threw a fade. Defense won 7 shots, 5-2, the most resounding victory for either platoon. First one that didn't go 4-3.
Yeah.
But one of the touchdowns was a Mason Rudolph fade to Darnell Mount Washington.
Beautiful.
Towering over cornerback James Pierre, who just can't jump as high and extend as far as Darnell Washington. This just in, most people cannot. Max, I've seen this for a couple of years out here. Are we going to see it in the regular season? Is this guy going to be a red zone weapon?
I believe so. This is the year, Mike. This is the year that
I feel like I'm being teased again.
No, but I feel like with Aaron and Mason, it feels a little bit better. Like, I think both those guys kind of know that is a walking skyscraper back there. Why not? You don't even have to be really be that right. It doesn't have to be that accurate.
Throw it to the 3rd floor.
In the area, general vicinity, and he's going to come down with it. And it's tough running that back line, out route fade. I mean, who can stop it? Like, you're never right. And he comes from in the line of scrimmage, so he's attached, runs straight up to the goalpost, bends it back either right or left, and he's been open every single time, and he's made the play. please just throw it to him a couple times.
I mean, if that's not stopped at the passing end, he's going to catch it.
Yeah, exactly. If it's not batted down, right, I don't even care. If he is covered, he's still not covered.
Maybe if the corner and the safety jump on top of each other.
It go little rascal style, like with the coat when they win the bank. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you got a shot there. But like you said, playing chicken with Darnell Washington still might not end up that well for guys.
The other touchdown was a Will Howard slant to Brandon Johnson, number 11 in your program.
Beautiful throw and catch.
Number 11 is showing up to me out here.
Yeah, he's a guy that's been coming on as of late. Strong hands, because that was tightly defended on the line.
Yes, it was. That was on number 38.
Oh, yeah. 38, that is the young guy, Cameron McCutcheon.
Yes.
Yeah, Cam McCutcheon. I mean, but strong, powerful hands, contested traffic catch right there breaking off the seam.
Yeah, bang, bang, big league play.
Yeah, it is. That's a varsity rep, a varsity play, and he made a varsity catch on that one. And when you think about Calvin Austin, we don't know the status of him as of right now, dinged up on the injury report. Yeah, somebody has to step up and play. I thought also there was a great play. I'm sure we're going to get to it later with Scotty Miller as well on a 9 route down the sideline that he just exploded. But there's opportunities for these young receivers to make a name for themselves. Remember, we don't have a number 2 in stone right now. And we don't have a number 3 or 4.
They keep saying it's Calvin Austin.
They keep saying it, but if you don't see it that much and now he's not on the field, that leaves room for opportunity. And guys who can do multiple things, it's going to be even more apparent. So you wonder what Brandon Johnson can do in special teams as well. Calvin Austin being out, Dante Kent being out, I don't have a punt returner. Next man up. Can you show yourself and prove that you could be multi-position flexible and be able to earn yourself a spot on this team and possibly a game day activation by what you can do on teams as well as on the offensive defensive side of the ball?
Brandon Johnson, not inexperienced. He's got 23 career NFL games, 3 NFL starts on his resume with Denver and the Steelers. Played 3 games for the Steelers last year. They threw him 1 ball. He made it good for a 9-yard catch. 6'2", $195. And again, he's the kind of guy that I'm not sure how you like to evaluate practice. I like to try to look at the field and wait for a guy to get my attention as opposed to, all right, I'm going to focus on 76 today or I'm going to focus on 38 because they're just – you can't watch one guy all day, and there's so many guys out here.
Exactly.
You know, even if I say, I wonder how Troy Fautano's going to do on this rep. Well, maybe you caught the good rep. Maybe you caught the bad rep.
Yeah.
Maybe neither one was representative of how he's playing. So I just kind of let them flash and make themselves known to me. And that guy right there keeps doing that.
Yeah, he keeps popping off the tape, so to speak. He jumps off the film.
Is that how you do it, by the way? Or?
Yeah, well, no. In practice, I'm usually going that. When I'm on field level watching practice, I watch a group at a time.
Okay.
And so I'll miss it. But then when I get to go back and watch film, obviously I cross-reference with what I saw. I'll check that real quick. But then now I'm looking for other people. Like you said, I'm watching the whole film and seeing what jumps out to me. Because usually I try and evaluate the offense, and especially the offensive line, when I'm in these team drills first. And then I look out. Once the ball's released in a pass situation, now I'm checking the field, the whole secondary, to see how guys line up. Then I go back and film and see, hey, how was the route release? What was the defensive concept on that? And I can break it down in slow increments and really get a full picture. But Brandon Johnson has jumped off the film every day I've turned it on. And it's been really nice to know that you have a guy like that here when you're talking about who's going to go opposite.
Nice physical
DK.
skill set, too. He's good.
Yeah, like I said, strong
Big,
hands.
strong guy.
He knows how to get his body available and make himself open.
For things such as slants where you need a little –
Need a little more surface area for the quarterback to catch your eye. So, no, it's been really fun to watch him.
Anybody else fit that category? I'm not talking about Jalen Ramsey's all over the place.
Yeah,
somebody kind of off the radar.
Scotty Miller is another one. I know he's not quite off the radar like he's a known commodity, but here for us, Scotty Miller's really had some great tape out there. And yesterday, I forgot which team pass under pressure, I think it was, category. Mason threw him a beautiful ball down the sideline, and Juan Thornhill thought he had the angle to cut him off, and Scotty Miller hit, I think, almost 22 miles an hour. It was one of the fastest times in camp, like as far as pickup speed, and he dusted Juan Thornhill to the point. Juan Thornhill's aiming for like the 25-yard line. It's cool and all. He made it there, but unfortunately, Scotty Miller was already like on the 23-yard line by the time he caught up to him. So was just a beautiful play. So those type of things stick out to me. Ben Skoranek, he makes a lot of combat catches, a lot of tough, traffic catches. I think that's what's really caught my eye when we're thinking about.
But when I think of Skoranek, I think that's a guy who's on the team, okay?
Yeah.
He's not going to lead the AFC in receiving, but
no, he's not.
He's going to be a special teams core guy.
He's a special teams core guy, and he can get you out of a pinch at wide receiver.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I'm kind of looking like. Who are the wide receiver types who are going to take 11 personnel, right, 10 personnel, and actually moment guys are showing that they deserve an opportunity to try and do that because of what they've done. And like I said, the unavailability of Calvin Austin leaves an opening there. You assume the next guy behind him is going to be Roman Wilson, but you also have a Robert Woods on this team as well, a veteran receiver that has played a lot of football. So I feel good about where we're at as far as the mixing and matching of personnel within the wide receiver room. They've all had their moments where they've splashed, but I think 11 and 13 have splashed the most out of that group outside of the known suspects.
Miller also made a play on a comebacker at the expense of our buddy Cam McCutcheon again.
Yeah.
And he was getting grabbed and pushed and made a really nice catch. He is what he is. He's not going to lead the league in receiving either, but
exactly,
he's a trustable go-to veteran guy who knows how to win and knows how to compete toward that end.
And he likes to block downfield. That's another thing, right? When we talk about it, if we're going to want to establish the run like we're trying to do here, you need those receivers who are also going to go and mix it up a little bit, get a little dusty, so to speak. A little blood on the knuckles never hurt anybody. And I think that's the other thing I like about it. Ben Skoranek's done a lot of lead pull stuff for the team and team drills, which has looked really nice. And also Scotty Miller jumping in there as well. So we've had a good mix of guys getting in there and trying to be that quote-unquote Hines Ward type that's going to dig a safety out in the box. And we're auditioning a lot of guys, and it's been good so far.
Another play made by Roman Wilson as well yesterday, Max. Again, the same wide receiver DB one-on-one drill. Contested catch, and the ball got deflected. He was going to the ground, and he still made the play. We talked a lot about him going up and over Joey Porter Jr. the other day. Starting to show up a little more consistently is Roman Wilson in terms of making those attention-getting plays.
Yeah, he's doing more and more, but once again, if I see one, I need two. If I see two, I need three. And I think that's where we're kind of looking at. He needs to continually take those steps, and it'll culminate when we see what he can do in Jacksonville come Saturday night, and, of course, against the Buccaneers when they come visit us a week after that. So just continue to stack days. That's all I want to see Tim do is stack days and stay healthy and show us that he's ready to be counted into the fold.
Of course, we had talked yesterday about how we both thought our buddy Scotty Miller had been wronged in 7 shots during the Friday Night Lights performance at Memorial Stadium in Latrobe. Turns out he was, Max. Had a chance to catch up with Scotty yesterday, and he cleared that up as well as offering some additional insight. Let's give a listen now to today's Camp Convo with Scotty Miller. Time now for another Camp Convo brought to you by the UPMC Health Plan. Our guest today, wide receiver Scotty Miller. Scotty, we've had some officials working the last couple of practices, and I wanted to take you back to 7 shots last night. You made what I thought was a play, what a lot of my brethren in the media thought was a play, and the officials said incomplete.
Yeah, that one hurt on the field yesterday. I swore I dragged my foot coming down on that corner route from Mason, but that official actually came up to me right before practice today and apologized and said he got it wrong and said he was going to make it up to me today, so I appreciate that.
That makes it all better, especially when that happens in the regular season, right?
Absolutely.
These guys are throwing flags, they're making calls. Talk a little bit about the process. Does it get communicated to the offending party what was done wrong, what the correct way is to make whatever play was flagged?
Yeah, it's a big advantage to have the officials out here. I mean, even in the meeting rooms, they're sitting in the rooms with us, watching film with us, where we can have an open dialogue with them and ask them questions on, little pick plays that maybe a pick may not be, see how they perceive it. So it's been a huge help to us.
You guys have also done a lot of one-on-one work with the defensive backs, and that looks combustible. Kind of talk about the tone of those and how valuable that's been for each side.
Yeah, we love to compete. I mean, anyone that plays football, one-on-ones is from a little kid, everyone's waiting for it. You trying to get up in line. That's how you earn scholarships when you go into college. So it's the same sort of vibe and energy out here. We all want to compete, want to win, and it's just may the best man win.
It's boiled over a couple of times. Is the temperature just about right?
Just about right, especially in this heat. The first week out here, I didn't know it got this hot up here in Latrobe, but that adds to it. And like I said, we're just out here being competitors.
Scotty, T.J. Watt told us when he arrived that he was going to seek out anybody and anyone he could that has a Super Bowl ring to find out how it's done. Have you had that conversation with him yet?
I haven't got too in depth about it with him, but we got a couple guys, so I'm sure he's talked to them. But I mean, shoot, I've got a Super Bowl, but I'm trying to learn just as much from TJ, from how great he is and how he goes about his business on and off the field.
You're also accustomed to playing with a quarterback who's in the conversation as the best guy to ever play quarterback. Give me a little compare and contrast with Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I've had a pretty special journey. I could have never imagined playing with these two guys, two of the best, probably the two best to ever do it. So it's awesome to see. I mean, you see the similarities. You see why they both have been so great and had so much success, just their approach to the game, their mindset, their mentality, how smart they are, and just how they bring the best out of everyone.
Did you have much knowledge of or interaction with Aaron before he got here?
No, we joked around about I had a big catch against them in the NFC Championship in 2020 when I was with the Bucs and we won the Super Bowl, so we kind of joked around about that. But other than that, I didn't know him personally too well, but it's been great spending time with him, competing with him, and just being on his team.
Scotty, appreciate your time. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Speaking of special journeys, it's our pleasure now to welcome a very special guest to Training Camp Live. We have with us right here under the tent, Mick McUade, who hosts the Irish Steelers podcast. Mick comes to us from Northern Ireland, the North. And welcome, first of all. Appreciate you taking a few minutes. First trip to St. Vincent?
First trip to Latrobe, first trip to St. Vincent College, and honestly, what a fantastic experience. It's unlike any other training camp I've seen, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, I've seen some others. You're doing the tour here.
Done Jacksonville last week, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Indianapolis, Cleveland, and now at the main one at Pittsburgh. So it's exciting.
Mick, you've hosted this Irish Steelers podcast. How long have you done that? How did you get that started? And kind of tell us about it, if you could.
Yeah, it sort of started whenever the team emerged into the NFL Global Markets Program, when they were awarded Ireland for marketing, and we really started very quickly from that. And it's really evolved from having a podcast to having different watch parties to then really having the big one this year with the first ever game in Dublin, which is, for any NFL fan, not just Steelers fan, is a real historic moment. And the podcast is primarily for Irish listeners, but it's also for listeners in the UK and Europe and overseas as well.
No, and I think that's one of the cool things. I've been on the podcast
Yes.
with you guys. Of course, it was like early in the day for me, and I'm sitting there. It's like dark over there for you guys. So I appreciate you guys having me on and accommodating the schedule. But as we kind of look at just this opportunity, right? You said the GMP, right? The Global Marketing Plan, partnership with the NFL, but getting a game in country, in market. I mean, how huge is that? And when you hear starting it, but then actually getting the game, like what has that been like for you, especially hosting this podcast for as long as you have?
Okay, it really does mean a lot, and I don't want to just speak for myself, but like just for general NFL fans across Ireland, it really means the world. For so many people, they have to get on a plane on a Sunday morning and go to a game in London or go to a game in Germany, and it's to actually have it at home, to have it 2 or 3 hours from your house, or in some cases, if you're from Dublin, have it right beside your front door. It's awesome. And I feel like it really is, and we spoke about this before, I think it's the start of something very special. I think for the Steelers, it's the start of a new partnership internationally with fans, and that should be celebrated.
What was your first exposure to the Steelers, Mick? I wonder how you found the team and how you decided, yeah, I think I'm into this.
I think so. First off, for the NFL and for the Steelers, it was primarily a situation where, you seen them on TV in primetime games, but it became quite clear to me after becoming a fan of the league and starting to understand. I know guys like Pat Boland were instrumental in bringing the game Sunday Night Football and bringing the game instrumentally, but to see the Steelers and to see the relationship that they have with this island, that really, got it for me in the sense of this is the one team that have a connection with Ireland that really nobody really does have. And when you've got 9.5 to 10% of the American population that identify as Irish American, it's huge.
Yeah, and I think that's the other thing when you have that connection, right? The immigrant journey to America, and then of course you have a family in the Rooneys, right? That still have very deep ties in Ireland.
Absolutely.
Of course, Ambassador Dan Rooney, the late great owner, Steelers owner, and his just love for country and love for his heritage, and doing a lot, I think, as ambassador, right? Going around the country and kind of spreading it makes it a little bit easier to follow a team when you have an ambassador that's there present, also a part of the NFL. Just kind of talk about that journey of the Rooney family and their connection with Ireland.
Left Ireland in the late 1840s and moved to North America and established obviously a base in Pittsburgh, start the Steelers. And for anybody to leave Ireland at that point when people really did not have an easy life in Ireland and to really join that opportunity and go to North America and chase the dream, I think that's one of the greatest stories of the American dream, is to see what the Rooneys have done, but more so to see it firsthand, since it's one thing to say about the relationship, but to see how they give back. Like, they're from Newry in County Down, and I seen firsthand last year how they went back home. And Dan, for example, all the guys had a youth football camp with young Gaelic football players, both boys and girls, and I think that's huge. And that sort of thing should be celebrated. And I think it becomes more accessible to a fan base which is either a very into the NFL, or let's be honest, there's still a lot of people now that might be going to the game, they might not be going to the game, but they're certainly interested in getting to know about it. And I think if they're going to be in that situation, then it's more likely they're going to be a Steelers fan because of that.
Let's say I'm going to the game. What am I going to find at Croke Park?
I think you're going to find a lot of Steelers fans for a start. There's 20 or 30,000 flying over. You're also going to find, honestly, every jersey for every team will be spotted, and that is a good thing. Obviously, we want to see as much black and gold as possible. You're going to find welcoming hospitality, fun people that will welcome you there. And I said it on the radio this morning, when you guys get down early, it's going to be a party of a lifetime. And I've said it before, and I really mean it when I say it. I think it'll be the best international game we've had in the NFL in the history of the league. It'll be that fun. But in terms of the stadium itself, if you sit high enough up, you'll have a whole view of the city of Dublin. And if you're American coming over, I think that's pretty cool. It's a bit like Pittsburgh with Akershire.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, that's what's the time frame like? Do you have to get up early, or are the games later? How do you take them in every week?
Oh, it's funny. I knew we were playing Jacksonville next weekend, but I've realized it's early Sunday morning for us, like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning. It's harder in the preseason. When you follow a team, or if you work for a team that's on the East Coast, 5 hours difference is okay.
Yeah.
I'll not lie. Thursday night football, Sunday night football is more difficult. But if you've got, like, for example, last year, the Cowboys, the Jets came to town, games like that there, especially later on in the year, it's easy. Look, there's a lot of hardcore fans that stay up. They go to bed at 4, they get up at 6, they go to work, and they love it. And I think there's a consensus between those sort of fans at home that, you get up, you get your coffee, you go about your day, and somehow, if that's on a Monday morning, you find a way to watch Monday Night Football on Monday night. So it's good fun. People don't sleep too much during the season.
Is it similar? There are a lot. What we call soccer is growing here.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people that follow European soccer teams, and they have their specific local watering hole, and they know the game's going to be on at whatever time, and it's kind of a communal thing. Is that developing with pro football over there?
I think the biggest key, from an NFL's viewpoint, is when they brought that game over in 2007, and that really started that ball going. It's 6 of one, half a dozen, as I would say. For the American guys and girls getting into soccer, it's on early in the morning for you guys. But for us, the NFL, I think why it's so successful, it's obviously the Americana, it's the connection to the island. But honestly, there's not too much sport on in Europe outside of soccer on a Sunday evening, and primarily, the Premier League is not on at that time. So I think a lot of people, that's how a lot of us guys get into it in college and stuff. And it's on a suitable time, shall we say. It definitely helps. And it's honestly, Thanksgiving, 5 o'clock on a Thursday evening. That's awesome. It's great.
Well, Max, you mentioned you've been on the podcast. I've been on the podcast. We both know, Mick, you know your stuff. So tell us what excites you about this particular Steelers team. What are you most interested in finding out today, and as you continue to study it?
If we stick on the international focus and maybe not go to Aaron Rodgers too much for now. DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
I seen him play in Munich, and I wouldn't want to race that guy. That's all I'm going to say. I seen him even in the workout this morning down there, and that guy looks ready to go. Yeah, we're talking about how we can maybe maximize the wideouts that we have this year, but I think the reality is there's going to be a lot on him. I'm excited to see what he can do. We know how well he works with Aaron Rodgers, so I'm excited to see that. I think from a general viewpoint, in terms of the team that we have, not to stick too much in Dublin, but we're playing against a Vikings team that is undefeated in London. They've been over internationally a lot over the last 2 to 3 years. Aaron Rodgers, this is going to be his 4th international game. He's been there. He's done that. He's worn the T-shirt. If you wanted them to play down there, if you wanted them to play in China, he'd find a way to make it work. I think it's the most intriguing thing, not just for Steelers fans, but for NFL fans, is how is Rodgers going to play this year? Because if he is the man that we know he can be, it could be a very, very special year for this team.
Now, I want to ask you this, Mick. When you look at the defense, obviously we have the known suspects, right? You have a Cam Hayward, you have a T.J. Watt, you have an Alex Highsmith, but no Minkah Fitzpatrick, obviously gone in a different direction, but you bring in a Jalen Ramsey. How do you look at this defense that's always been so stellar at points throughout the last 5-7 years?
It's always been that one thing that you can actually rely on, knowing, okay, well, if we can't get an offensive play on the line, we know the defense is going to come on and primarily do its job. I think the answer is quite simple. The guys have to step up, and I can't think of the guys that you've mentioned. I can't think of a better unit of guys to step up. They know. The guys like TJ know that this is the year where they must step up and get to that. Guys are going to come, guys are going to go, and I think primarily, not to stay too much on TJ, but to get TJ to remain with the team is key. And I think for a lot of us guys, we're just happy we're going to see him run onto that field in Dublin. But when you look at the schedule of some of the games, especially after the bye down the stretch, that defense is going to be needed, and it needs to come up in certain situations. You hope that with an elevated offense, they might not be on the field as much, but I feel like if they have to be for whatever reason, they can get the job done.
Mick, last thing I have for you, when we go to the game, what is the must-see or must-do in Dublin?
I think in Dublin, like, you can do all the touristy things, Temple Bar, the Guinness Storehouse, for example. I honestly think go down a beaten track. Go maybe get a train, go outside the city a little bit, or go down to certain streets that aren't too touristy.
Yeah.
Go get a nice drink of water or a pint if you like, and enjoy yourself. And I will say, if there's a Steelers bar and there's a couple of podcasts, come in and have some fun. It's going to be a great week. I can't wait, guys. It's
is there a Steelers bar, and are there going to be podcasts?
They're usually, so in every international market, there's always a bar for each team, and that's something that we don't know what bar it is yet, but it's going to be awesome. 7 weeks today, I believe, is the game.
You're going to take care of us, make sure we get to the right spot.
Will we get the pint?
Yes,
we have to get the proper pint, right?
We'll get the pint. 100%. 100%.
That's all we need. And me and Pursuit are very simple guys. As long as it's cold, it comes in a pint or higher size. We're usually good, happy campers, great broadcasters.
Easy to please. Mick, thanks so much for visiting with us. I really enjoyed it. I'm so looking forward to getting over there and hooking up with you again.
Awesome. Guys, anytime. Thank you both for coming on, and for everyone on the Steelers Media Network for coming on all the time. We really do appreciate it, and we'll see you in a few weeks.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Mick McUade, host of the Irish Steelers podcast. Of course, I mentioned at the outset of the show today that some NFL officials have been working practice the last couple days. They're going to do so again today. And part of the reason for their visit to Latrobe is to also update the media on the rules changes, what's significant, what isn't, what the points of emphasis are going to be. Of course, everybody, I'm sure, is well aware that the touchback rule has changed. Now, instead of the 30-yard line, the ball is going to be placed at the 35. The hope is that will deter teams from kicking the ball through the end zone and make for more returns and fewer touchbacks. But one of the questions raised by the media yesterday to our visiting referee, Craig Wolstadt, they're going to use replay assist this year in order to take away penalties that should not have been called, to correct miscalls, but they are not using replay assist to actually call penalties that have been missed. Craig Wolstadt talked about that yesterday.
Why not make it work the opposite way, where it wasn't called on the field, but that ball didn't get to the line of scrimmage? And why is, I guess, it better to do it one way and not the other?
Yeah, that's a great question. The competition committee is composed of general managers, coaches, not players, general managers, coaches, owners, and their committee. Mike Tomlin's on that committee. This might be a better question for him. But from what I've heard is they don't want us throwing flags from the replay booth. The replay booth is connected to people in New York City who aren't officials, and so they basically want the game officiated on the field unless there's been a mistake that they can pick it up pretty easily. And so they don't want flags flying in from, places unknown. Coaches don't want that, owners don't want that, general managers don't want that. Flags coming in unknown of like who threw that flag. At least when we throw a flag, they know who threw it and they can talk to us and have some dialogue. If it comes out of nowhere, they just tend not to like that. So I don't probably have all the answers for that, but that's sort of the line that I believe.
Interesting point, but there are a lot of obvious missed calls. Shouldn't there be a way to at least minimize those?
You would think there would be. I mean, we talked about what the sky judge or the sky ref does, and trying to assist with that replay assist. But I think more importantly, it's more so about getting the game right. Like there's some egregious plays where they don't necessarily even see it. I mean, we talk about some of the playoff games, right? I think about that Minnesota-New Orleans game that was back in like 2021 where, the guy, they called Marshawn Lattimore on like a hold and it wasn't a hold. He got pushed by Jefferson. So it's like you see those moments and you're like, man, I wish somebody would have just called down and said, hey, man, you need to throw the flag here in those situations. But I get it. You want to make sure that if they do throw a flag, they're not just throwing them egregiously in games. Because, I mean, we got to a couple of games last year, Mike, where we're sitting up there, and it was like a flag was thrown like every 2 minutes. And it was like it took away from the speed of the game, the tempo, and made the affair a lot longer than it should have been. And I think that's where you want to kind of clean up some of those things and try and speed it up so they're not running to the instant replay or not bringing that Surface tablet thing out there for him to see every 5 minutes to see whether or not, and there's a challenge. I would like this to hopefully, and I hope it leads to speeding up the game from that respect and not taking away from it.
That's certainly a consideration. Another topic broached yesterday in the officials' press conference, whether or not intentionally or otherwise guys get officiated by reputation.
When it comes to players who have issues with repeated fouls, and like, for example, if it's a cornerback who consistently gets called for pass interference or holding, whatever it is, how hard is it for you guys to balance, like, not trying to focus too much on that guy, or is that something you guys try to do and keep a little bit of a closer eye on him, and then how can a player best shed that reputation?
Yeah, well, we do watch film. So we watch film. If we have the Steelers against the Jaguars week 1, if we did, we don't, but if we did, we would watch video of their team from last year or the week before or the 2 weeks before, and we'd look at plays and we look at players and we look at penalties. We look at the whole game. And so, yes, we do notice that, hey, this guy had, 2 pass interference calls and an illegal contact and this or that. So it does heighten our senses, I suppose, but we officiate each play as it is. How can a guy keep from having that reputation? He can probably string together a couple games where he doesn't have any fouls, and then he kind of falls off our radar. So I think it does heighten our senses, but we don't go in with any preconceived notion. You can have a guy who has 10 holding penalties and he can have a great game and not have any holding. So we just judge each play by what it is, and I don't think we have too big a preconceived notion.
Joey Porter, sorry, that was bull crap. I'm sorry. What was that? Yeah, no reputation.
Right? Get some water.
I remember when it came in, and I remember James Harrison was like target. Like the officials didn't look at anybody. I was like, is James Harrison doing something? Okay, wait a second. He didn't do anything. He scratched his back left cheek. I don't know. Nope. Okay, well, hold on. We're not gonna throw the penalty there. He's on the sidelines. I mean, it got egregious at certain points. I mean, so for them to say they look at the film from last year, yes, you do have preconceived notions. And yes, we've seen where guys get targeted, AKA number 24 for the Steelers. So I get it. Craig Wolstadt wasn't there at like all those games, but you can't sit there and say that crews don't do that. And they don't come in with preconceived notions, because there was some where we saw some phantom holds that were there, but it's just because the guy had a history that they were like, oh, if anything bad happened, it had to be him. Like, it was never the other guy. And I think that's – I heard what he said. It sounded good on tape, but, yeah.
You're skeptical.
Super skeptical.
Last but not least, regarding the officiating of the game, we talked a little about the dynamic kickoff rule change. Touchback goes from the 30 to the 35. Both teams get the ball in overtime.
Yes, I do like that one.
I hate that one.
I love it.
I hate it.
It's more football.
Play defense.
And play offense, too. You should
play
be able
defense.
to play both.
Stop them.
The game is on both sides.
We didn't get to touch the ball.
But wait a second. But, okay, so here we go. Where's Gene at? Is Gene territory?
He's around here
he's not up here. He's not up here. But there was one time where you get into overtime and you might miss your finger on flipping the coin, and it goes up and comes down, and it doesn't flip until it hits the ground.
Just stop him. Just stop him.
Well,
win the toss.
Where was that at when Jerome was staring at Charlie in overtime in Thanksgiving? That's what I'm saying.
It's a different argument.
No.
You have to enunciate.
Yeah. No, but still, the coin flip can go the wrong way is what I'm saying. It can go the wrong way. And then now I don't get an opportunity when I should have.
Yeah. Well,
that's why everybody gets a chance now.
You could just stop them and get the ball back and then kick the field goal. But there is a caveat to that,
okay,
Max.
What's that?
I predict, bold prediction, this will never come up. But if a team holds the ball for the entire 10 minutes and then kicks a field goal on the last play, they win.
Yeah, that could happen. But
if you could bleed the clock. If you're good enough to hold the ball for 10 minutes, I'm guessing
you deserve the victory.
I'm guessing the game isn't tied.
Yeah, no, it's not. You're not even getting to that situation.
Yeah.
And if you do get to that point, I'm like, what's the endurance of that team that they still have the energy to be able to hold the ball for 10 minutes? That's the other thing. Because you're figuring now you're getting to the 40 minutes time of possession range if you can hold it for that length of time.
The other, I don't know if it's a major change, but it's a significant one. No more chain gang.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
No more Gene Steratore and the index card. Try to see if there's any space between the ball and the stick. They're going to start measuring first downs virtually.
The virtual ball spotting, how your point of view with that is?
We have a new system this year. We still have the chain crew on the sideline. They're still going to be there as the backup system. But we have a new system called the virtual measurement that we tested in preseason last year. So instead, I'll still call timeout for a measurement, which if you pay close attention, we don't do many measurements. We probably measure once every, 2 or 3 games. But I'll call timeout for measurement on something that's close, or if a coach has maybe requested a measurement, we'll measure. And rather than the chain crew coming out, we just will clear people away from the football. And they have a camera system in each stadium that's designed to show whether they made the line to gain or not. And so then I'll get a radio down that says, I'll get a radio at the same time they're showing it on the scoreboard, and it'll show it, and it'll pop up, and it'll say 8 inches short, or it'll say first down or whatever. And then I'll make that announcement. We'll let the coaches know, and hopefully it'll be real smooth, and it'll take like 30 seconds. But we'll test it in the preseason. We'll see if we can get that time down, because that's the idea. And then the old archaic system of running those guys out there and running them back, sometimes it took 2 minutes, and I don't think that's good television.
So will that be used in the regular season this year?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm all for that one. And I say that as the nephew of an uncle of mine who established himself for years as the head of the chain gang at Monaco High School. He was rock solid. But
he took that job seriously.
Technology, he took everything seriously, especially discipline. Yeah. Technology it needs to be embraced when possible.
Yeah, I think this is the next step when you're talking about making the game more efficient. Yes, as much as I love the chain gang and they're like beloved, like you said, uncles, grandfathers, and friends. But at the same time, you want to speed the game up. You don't want to haul the chain gang out there. But I think also it's still a necessity to have the chain gang, because when you're looking at the sticks for the yardage to go, sometimes you can't look down at that little pylon that's going to be the digital marker. You need a taller, more obvious thing. And so you can see it readily if you're a quarterback, if you're a receiver, you're a defensive back. You know where that line to gain is because you have a visual cue to look either side to know how far they got to go.
A couple other nuggets from practice yesterday and the pre or the lunchtime media sessions today. I didn't want to get out of here today, Max, without talking about James Pierre. We mentioned that there were some of the regulars had the day off yesterday. Maybe they were nursing an injury, or maybe it was just time to have a day off. A lot of reps for number 42 at cornerback. Interception, pass defense on a deep ball from Will Howard to Lance McCutcheon. And Pierre celebrated the last play with the
Matumbo wag.
That seems to be the most popular gesture at training camp right now. But,
yeah.
Boy, James Pierre's a real good special teams player.
Yeah.
How many cornerbacks are going to make this team, and is he going to be one of them?
I think, you look at how many cornerbacks. I think that's the biggest thing. I look at James Pierre, who's a special teams ace. I look at Beanie Bishop in that safety room. Where does he fit in? Led the team in interceptions a year ago, but you're talking about being on the line. But making plays like that makes it a lot tougher on that room upstairs. That makes that final say. And 42's had a great camp. 31's had a great camp thus far. And looking to see what other guys can bring to the table when given the opportunity. They're going to get a lot of shots in the preseason to do just that.
And one other note I wanted to mention, kind of a fashion-related statement being made up here.
Okay.
A lot of people have T-shirts with an abbreviation of a popular Mike Tomlinism, DGB TTF.
DGB, what did you say? What was it?
TTF.
Nope, I have no clue.
Don't get beat to the flat.
Oh, geez. Yeah, I would never know.
Those guys are getting a lot of instruction about that daily.
Yeah, I would
weekly,
say,
monthly, yearly.
Yeah, that's a DB terminology, and that's a Mike Tomlinism just for that side of the ball. It doesn't apply to us. I was like, it's not one dog, two bones. It's or two bones, one dog, whatever, however it goes. It's not iron sharpens irons. I'm like, I had no clue what that was. So
it's
you
not
got me
one
there.
dog, two bones. It's
two dogs, one bone.
Yeah.
Two dogs, one bone.
That's what it is.
I had to get through it, yeah. But I don't know what DGB TTF. TGI.
Oh, look, there
it is right there.
There it is.
There it is. Is that Joey Porter Jr. wearing it? I think that is.
And that's, it's good advice.
It is. It is. Don't get beat to the flat.
Look both ways when you cross the street.
Yeah.
Brush your teeth before you go to bed.
At least 2 minutes, And
don't get beat to the flat.
Got it.
That's the word for today, and that is all for us today. I want to thank everybody for finding us, however and wherever you found us on the Steelers social media platforms. We'll do it again tomorrow. Until then, for Max Starks, I'm Mike Pursuta. This has been Training Camp Live, brought to you by FedEx. Good afternoon, everyone.